Hello, you guys. We are back for the very last chapter of Mrs. Noodle-Kugel. Chapter 10. Let's see what happens. The cookies are done, Mrs. Noodle-Kugel said after a while. Now they have to cool. We will decorate them with sugar frosting and raisins, and then we can eat the blobs and enjoy the scampering. Scampering? You will see. Decorating the ginger mice and ginger blobs was fun. Nick and Maxine did some excellent decorations, as did Mr. Fuzzface and Mrs. Noodle-Kugel. The cookies and blobs decorated by the mice made no sense at all because they were so far-sighted. "They are finished," Nick and Maxine said. "Not quite," said Mrs. Noodle-Kugel. "Just watch for a bit." Nick and Maxine watched. "Is that ginger mouse moving?" Nick asked. "And that one, I'm sure I saw it move," Maxine said. In another moment, all the ginger mice were moving. You can see them starting to stand up from the cookie sheet. They're coming to life. This is crazy. They scampered all over the kitchen table. They spun like tops. They jumped up and down. Mr. Fuzzface and Mrs. Noodle-Kugel and the four mice clapped their hands and paws and were delighted. Nick and Maxine were amazed. "How is this possible?" Nick asked. "Why is this happening?" Maxine asked. "Mr. Fuzzface, do we know why the gingerbreads scamper?" Mrs. Noodle-Kugel asked. "No, we do not," Mr. Fuzzface said. "I don't think we ever knew." "It's just something that happens," Mrs. Noodle-Kugel said. The ginger mice scurried down the legs of the kitchen table and scurried out into the garden. "Where are they going? What will happen next?" Nick and Maxine asked. Here's the ginger mice cookies running out the door, out into the garden while the kids and Mrs. Noodle-Kugel watch. "I do not know," Mrs. Noodle-Kugel said. "I suppose the crows will eat them." That's terrible. "Eat them? They are cookies," Mrs. Noodle-Kugel said. "But they can move." "Yes, isn't it entertaining?" "Well, yes, it's extremely entertaining and weird." "We think so too. Now, would you like tea with your ginger blobs?" And that, my friends, is the end of Mrs. Noodle-Kugel. So, just like the other chapter books I've read you, Frog and Toad, there's lots of different Frog and Toad books, so that's called a series when the same author writes, sometimes 3 or 4 or 10, even more books with kind of similar characters, but the story changes each time. So Frog and Toad, there's lots of different Frog and Toad books, so if you liked that one that I read you, you could look for more Frog and Toad books. The first chapter book I read you, Zoe and Sassafras, and the marshmallow something, that crazy dragon thing. There's lots of books about Zoe and Sassafras, so that girl scientist and her cat go on all kinds of adventures in different books. So if you liked that one, you could look for more about Zoe and Sassafras. And there are more Mrs. Noodle-Kugel books too. So if you liked Mrs. Noodle-Kugel and how crazy she was and her cat and her 4 blind mice, and you want to know more about Nick and Maxine and what they do, you could look for more Mrs. Noodle-Kugel books. So those, my friends, are the very last chapter books I'm reading you this year. That makes me sad. There should be at least one more regular read aloud book coming to you tomorrow. So look for that. See you later.